Well, what an absolute pleasure this is. If you listen to iOS, It's Only Sport, Brett McKay joins us. He's the Roar out of Canberra. The Roar Rugby Podcast involves him, a couple of cronies, one of them, Harry Jones, and it's Harry who we welcome very warmly onto the platform. Thanks for joining us, mate.
How's it, Martin? How are you?
Very well. Well, we've just been at All Blacks training, so we get a couple of limited opportunities to spend time around the team. One of them was today, team naming on Thursday, captain's run on Friday. Now, you've been in Paris, in France, for the first number of weeks of the World Cup, right?
Yeah, I was in Lyon, and I did a stalking of the All Blacks. I was roaming around Gerland area trying to find the All Blacks training, because for me, that's the most fascinating sub-story of this whole World Cup is once the All Blacks lost that first match, where do they go? What are they plotting? How are they feeling? And they're remarkably quiet. It's really interesting.
Fascinating you say that, because at the presser today I asked the question, and it's a legacy question, and it was received with a bit of stone cold silence to start with, and the question was simply that. You know, Sean Fitzpatrick, legendary All Black captain, always spoke about a fear of losing his side. They were motivated by that. And I put that to Jason Ryan and a couple of the players, simply that if things go wrong against Ireland, then this All Black side returns to New Zealand as the worst we've sent to any World Cup. Statistically, I'm talking about. But that's what we are into. We are into a game of numbers, results, and performances, and then those are what is attached to you as a player. That becomes your legacy. Are they motivated by the same, the fear of losing? So what you're saying there, look, when the All Blacks get like this, I mean, my experience of been doing this for 25 years, when they go all insular like this, it's never a great sign.
Yeah, because they're a happy side. I mean, even though New Zealand is obviously the best rugby team over the century, they were always very happy to be a warrior. I mean, and now they seem like a volcano. Sometimes they erupt, sometimes they're dormant. On any given week, they literally go to sleep. They absorb sledges instead of retaliating for them. And so sometimes I wonder, is it kind of a quiet All Blacks team? Is this the quietest All Black team? And are they going to go quietly into the dark night? Or will they actually come and smash this weekend?
What are you expecting? I'll tell you what we are in this country. It has been so difficult to put your finger on who this team is. I'm talking about their identity, because the inconsistency is something that is the hardest thing to accept for any All Black fan. You know, you talk about 100 brilliant years, and most of that time the winning percentage is up to 80%, something insane like that. Yet over the last 4 years, this side has just created unwanted record after unwanted record, and we're kind of on that precipice of just simply not knowing what to expect from them this weekend.
You know, it's true. You can grab 3 results for the last 2 years and you will have a completely different All Black story or narrative. That's very different from 2015, 2012, 2011, where you had where consistency was the actual ethos. So you could say, what is the All Blacks good at? Consistency. That was it. This group seems to be almost emotional in their ups and downs. You look at the set piece for this World Cup, it's immaculate. You look at the line out, which possibly could be a weapon to use against Ireland. But then you look across breakdown and you see that they melt away. So I would think, gay line can be canceled out by breakdown. Ireland is maestros right now doing that. Can the All Blacks find enough heavy carriers, enough bash, and can there be some dominant tackles for God's sake? I haven't seen an All Black make a dominant tackle in the whole Cup. And dominant tackles under the way the referees are doing this World Cup, super important. Someone needs to unload and someone needs to smash. I need to see some Irish folded very quickly in this match, in the first 20 minutes, because this match will actually ride a lot on the first 20 minutes as opposed to France, South Africa, which might, be a last minute decider.
Very perceptive indeed, mate, because even prior to the press conference today, not name-dropping here, but just sitting there having a chat to Mills Moloiena, who was there, lovely, lovely guy, 100 tests for the All Blacks, of course, and the thing both of us were talking about, I mean, here's me talking to an All Black legend like this about this kind of stuff. I always pinch myself, Harry, to go, oh my God, am I really doing this? But talking about, the first 20 minutes, I just want to see us run straight. I don't want to see the helter-skelter, the hurly-burly. I don't want to see the super rugby, la-la, basketball pass bollocks. I just want to see us ball in hand and smash some bodies out of the way and bring the Irish into contact.
Yeah, so there's always been a misconception about the All Blacks, and I think it's something that they've almost burnished themselves, is this idea of beautiful rugby. In fact, New Zealand All Blacks have always been a really tough physical side and start there, and then they end with the pretty stuff. So I think Ireland's not going to let you get around it anyway. There's only one way through the side because they swarm defense, everyone can jackal, and the referees are quick on the whistle. So it's going to have to be up the middle, pillar post, second channel. Aaron Smith can make that third channel a pass, but he doesn't need to. What they need to do is there's plenty of room if you can get over Omani and if you can go through a guy like Henderson or Byrne. You can fold them. They're not the most dynamic tacklers, and I think All Blacks need to be patient enough to build that, and then the benefits will come later. I worry a little bit about the impatience of the current All Black setup.
Again, such a perceptive comment. I mean, sitting here nodding my head to that. It's a perfect word to say, isn't it? It's impatience. And, part of the frustration, I suppose, on this side of the microphone and everyone watching at home on TV as well, is simply that we don't know. We've had the weirdest build-up possible. We had, a test against the Yarpies at Twickenham where we got smacked up. We lost against France, first time we've lost in pool play, and then had 3 glorified training runs. And I know the scoreboard piles up and we look great and we score all these tries, but really what does it mean beating Uruguay, Namibia and a very poor Italian side on that particular day? It's kind of like, you kind of wish we'd had at least some contest during that time to see what the players are capable of. And I suppose that's creating the nervousness and the apprehension.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the one sort of blessing I have in my mind is Uncle Joe is there. Uncle Joe has circled this match for a long time. And you would think the starter plays will be superior. I think the blind side has not been used by New Zealand yet. And there's something about that tells me, oh, I see. They're waiting for this match to use the blind side. It's just been all open side. It's been channel 2, channel 3. I don't think New Zealand's pulled any rabbits out of the hat yet, but I do think this is the one where you could see that. On the other side of that, the flip side of that is, they know Joe as well. So I don't know which one cancels out which. But I do think that's a subtext. Other thing is the maul. Ireland hasn't really used their maul very much. The All Blacks have looked like the Jason Ryan maul is a weapon. I'm kind of looking for that too.
Harry, let's look at that Ireland side because it's too easy for us to talk all about the All Blacks and be obsessed about, and we are obsessed, and we are going to, it's just building up for the next 3 or 4 days. This Ireland side, you only have to look at what they have achieved. 16 tests in a row, beating New Zealand in New Zealand, and we know what that did for the England team in 2003. Martin Johnson talked about that. Clive Woodward talked about that, beating New Zealand and Australia down under and what it meant to then go and win that World Cup. And then you look at this Ireland side again. They stomped their way through the Six Nations. And then at this World Cup, they tough it up against the Springboks, playing hugely physical and just a heavyweight brawl. And then against Scotland, they actually show how well they can play. So there's a lot more to this team. Do you think that they are still being underwritten a little, considering what they have achieved?
I think everyone now notices that they're not just a pretty attacking team. They're defensive. They are swarming defense. They all take up for each other. They have a lot more people on their feet. Phase 4, phase 5, phase 6 than any other team. So that speaks to fitness, but also it speaks to a desire to overcome the ghosts of the past. So I think they are different from the Ireland of the past. But let's say right now, they have not yet won a quarterfinal. And you would say that New Zealand, when it's, dark days and it's 5 minutes to go, you'd still back a guy like Sam Whitelock over someone like Ty Byrne because, he's been in the room with the light off trying to find the light switch. So there's something about that I still trust. But Ireland is different from Ireland of the past. They have a different coaching setup. Mike Catt, Paul O'Connell, they don't make any excuses. They play really smart. They're a team of captains led by an admiral. So it's like a real fleet. Everyone is empowered to make decisions, but Johnny Sexton, make no mistake, is the coach on the field. He's what Rassie Erasmus wishes he was, like an actual coach roaming around on the pitch. And everyone respects him. So I would say All Blacks need to get to him early. They have shown a big drop-off when Sexton's not on. And so you would think you'd want to flood the zone if Shannon Frizzell's on or someone like that. You want to catch Johnny and put him on the ground as much as possible.
Harry Jones is with us from the Roar Podcast, and you can find this where you find all your favourite podcasts. Brett McKay, another regular of ours on the platform, is alongside Harry when he does that. You look at Ireland and you look at the way that they can play. So how do you expect them to play? They can't go into their shell at all. They've got to be Johnson out. They've got to play this match with a lot of confidence. They are the number one ranked team in the world. So what do you expect from the off, especially that first 5 to 10 minutes from them?
No, so Ireland's kind of been playing like New Zealand used to, which is we have a template. We don't worry too much about what other teams are going to do. We don't change it up that much. We just do optimum. And so what you can see is a full court press. They're really good over the ball from side to side. If you go wide, they love that. They'll catch you. They have some injury issues for the first time, so we don't know if Jimmy O'Brien will be there instead of Mac Hansen or something, but they're still opportunistic. They do like to camp out in 22s. They'll go in the red zone and just work you. So I think they're trying to do that. They're trying to get an easy entrance. They've struggled a bit in the set piece, so they're going to try and cover over their line out with throws to the back to Peter O'Mahony mostly. So I think that's an area where the All Blacks could catch them. But in general, they're going to come with that same sort of energy, and I think it's up to the All Blacks to change the narrative.
What about the crowd? What effect are they going to have? We saw with Ireland and South Africa that the stadium was turned virtually green. And the thing about the Europeans fans is that they bring their voice as well. We're a little bit quiet as All Black fans. We like to sit with our arms folded and we like to moan that our team hasn't won by enough. So we're going to have to find our voice big time in the stadium, Harry. We really are.
It's the Stade de Dublin. It's the Stade de Zombie. It's the Stade de Farce. It's like you're there and you're actually literally sitting in somewhere in Cork. And you're right about the singing. And I know Kiwi fans are not just grumbling. They actually like to talk to each other about, specific points of the game and have a chat. The Irish don't even chat. They're just singing into the faces of their neighbors, hugging, screaming, loving each other, agonizing. It's a whole different vibe. And I think that is one of the big points. Who is it? Is it Wayne Barnes you have as a ref?
Wayne Barnes!
So, the whole thing's set up for extreme melodrama.
All right, then we look forward to catching up with you this weekend in person. Call it for us then this early because we're going to be changing our mind every 5 minutes about it. We worry about it. We stress about it. I lie awake at night. I reselect my team over and over again. This is what we do. We obsess about it up until game time, and it's almost a relief when kickoff comes. Call this game for us.
Okay, New Zealand is the underdog. Let's all be clear about that. They are actually the underdog in this game. And then I'm still going to say that they're going to redeem themselves, come from behind, and win this at the pip. And I think it's going to come down to a moment of magic and the fact that Ireland hasn't been there before. New Zealand by 2.
Devlin.
What do you want? We want information. Information. You won't get it.
The platform.